So hello everyone, I want to thank everyone for coming today. My name is Elizabeth. I am the Minnesota State Contact for Women's Declaration International USA, or WDI USA. We are a global organization dedicated to protecting the sex-based rights of women and girls. Again, thank you all for coming today. We're here today at MCF Shakopee to rally in support of protecting the sex-based rights of incarcerated women. We are a coalition of women's rights advocates, feminists, and common sense Americans with grave concerns about the conditions for the women incarcerated at MCF Shakopee today. I would like to introduce our first speaker, Carrie Bruss, who will give some background about the importance of women's sex-based rights for incarcerated women. Carrie is an active volunteer with Women's Declaration International USA. She serves as the state contact for Wisconsin and the country contact for the United States chapter of this international organization. Carrie is a staunch advocate for women's rights and a co-organizer of today's rally, and I'm happy to say a dear friend of mine. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, hello everyone. We are here today in support of former Shakopee inmate. Okay, I'll start over. Hello everyone. We are here today in support of former Shakopee inmate Jayme Ali in opposition to Minnesota Department of Corrections policy that allows violent male prisoners to be housed with vulnerable female inmates. Since her recent release, Jayme, a survivor of male violence, has been publicly speaking out about the trauma inflicted on her by the state, which imprisoned her with men convicted of offenses including assault, homicide, and criminal sexual misconduct, some involving minors. This is a violation of Jayme's human rights, as well as all those of all the women forced to be incarcerated with men. Women's reform activists push hard for more than 2 decades to establish a women's-only prison in Minnesota. The collapse and death of Isabel Davis Higbee on the State House floor after passionately advocating her cause before the legislature was the catalyst that ultimately brought the State Reformatory for Women to fruition in 1920. Our message today is clear. Men are not and never can be women. There are areas of life where the physical and biological differences between the two sexes must be recognized and respected to assure the safety, privacy, and dignity of women and girls, with sex-segregated prisons topping that list. Current DOC policy allows men to be housed in Shakopee, the state's only women's prison, based on their claimed gender identity, which is in direct conflict with women's sex-based rights. Furthermore, it violates international law on prisoners' rights. Fact: housing males and females together violates multiple provisions of the Geneva Conventions, including Article 124, which mandates that females be confined separately from men and under the direct supervision of women. Fact: Rule 11 of the Mandela Rules states that men and women shall be detained in separate institutions, and that in an institution which receives both men and women, the whole of the premises allocated to women shall be entirely separate. While these rules are not legally binding on signatory countries, Keep Prison Single Sex USA suggests they may provide a basis for women incarcerated with men to claim a violation of their 8th Amendment right to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. And additionally, that requiring female officers to search male prisoners based on their self-declared gender identity may be a form of sexual harassment and a violation of their employment rights. Fact: as 86% of jailed women have experienced sexual violence and 77% have experienced intimate partner violence, they are particularly vulnerable to being re-traumatized. These troubling statistics, combined with the fact that women are more likely to enter incarceration with mental health conditions, point to what New Jersey Senator Cory Booker has dubbed a survivor of sexual trauma to prisoner pipeline. Fact: with fewer than 15% of men who claim to be women electing to undergo genital surgery and 60+% defining themselves as heterosexual, sexual assaults perpetrated on female inmates by the males housed with them have and will continue to occur, including right here at Shakopee. Fact: according to the 2025 Federal Bureau of Prisons Transgender Inmate Report, more than 51% of male inmates who identify as women have been convicted of sexual offenses, which is almost 4 times that of the general BOP population, and are classified at the high security level at 3 times the rate of the general BOP population. Forcing incarcerated women, who typically are nonviolent offenders, to share intimate spaces with these violent, predatory men is an act of cruelty that amounts to state-sanctioned torture, and any rape that occurs under these circumstances must be understood as state-sanctioned. We call on the state of Minnesota to stop disregarding international humanitarian guidelines and the sex-based protections that women have campaigned and died for in service of a trendy ideology that recklessly neglects the rights, privacy, and safety of women and girls. We also call on the Minnesota legislature to pass bills SF 1295 and HF 435, requiring the Commissioner of Corrections to house only female inmates at MCF Shakopee. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is going to be Rebecca Delahunt. Rebecca serves as Director of Public Policy with the Minnesota Family Council. MFC works with the Minnesota legislature to protect women and children in public policy and law. Rebecca is passionate about being a voice for vulnerable women and children, and we appreciate her being here with us today. Beth.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Can I raise it up a little bit? This one? Okay. Oh, this one. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Angle so that you get the left mic more.
Uh-oh. Oh, left one. Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for that introduction, Elizabeth. Thank you to Jayme for her bravery. She's holding up the sign over there. My name is Rebecca Delahunt. I work as Director of Public Policy with Minnesota Family Council, and we are the Protestant voice at the state capitol. We are so honored to stand with you today in protection of vulnerable women.
Yes.
Yes. For the past legislative sessions, Minnesota Family Council and our legal arm, True North Legal, have lobbied in protection of the women here at Shakopee, at times been the only voice of protection for these women here until brave former DOC employee Alicia Beckman, who you will hear from in a little bit, shared her story as well. So we are growing in number. Women incarcerated here at Shakopee, Minnesota's only prison for women, have been forced to share these facilities in recent years with males. But the legislature can protect these women in state law. As of today, Sunday, November 16th, 2025, there are multiple males here at Shakopee inside right now. I'm just going to share about a few of them. One male is serving time for sexual abuse. There's a male serving life for homicide. And there's a male serving time for assault. They are all inside right now with the women. Minnesota Family Council argues for protection of all women in all private spaces, in gyms, in restrooms, certainly in prison facilities. This is fundamentally different. A woman can boycott a sports team if there's a male taking her spot. A woman can hopefully leave a restroom facility if there's a male inside. Women here cannot leave this facility. They are stuck inside. This is barbaric injustice. Because of the DOC's policy to house in accordance with so-called gender identity, the women's voices are silenced by male manipulators. Minnesota Family Council has lobbied in support of a bill to keep Shakopee for women, IPs only, supported by Chair Novotny, who's here in the audience today. Thank you, Representative Novotny, for protecting women. We also oppose the so-called Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA, which would give our state constitution constitutional protection for gender identity. This is much higher legal protection than any DOC policy. This would change our state constitution to give males constitutional protection to women's private spaces like prison facilities. This cannot pass in Minnesota. We call on the legislature to support laws that protect vulnerable women, reject any public policy that prioritizes male manipulators over basic justice and safety for vulnerable women. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here today and for those powerful words. Our next speaker is going to be the legend, Miss Jayme Ali herself.
That's not gay. Art.
Jayme is a woman, as you've heard, who was formerly incarcerated here at MCF Shakopee. During her incarceration and after her release in September, has been actively speaking out about the trauma of being housed in a women's prison with men. We are here today to support her in her attempt to raise awareness about the impacts that these policies are having on incarcerated women. Jayme?
Jayme! Morale. 0. Hello, everybody. I first of all want to thank everybody for coming out today and in October when we had our first march and rally and protest in regards to these predatory men being housed here at Shakopee Women's Facility in Shakopee, Minnesota. I want to thank everybody that's been standing behind me, beside me, and with me since my story aired back in May. I want to thank Liz Collins and Alpha News and Elizabeth Watson. I want to thank one of my besties, Rebecca Warmbro and Hands of Hope Ministry, and all these other wonderful entities whose all names I don't know. Please chalk it up to my head and not my heart. This has been an overwhelming experience. I was released from Shakopee Women's Prison 2 months ago today. Today's the 60-day anniversary, if you will, that I walked out the door of Shakopee Women's Correctional Facility. 60 short days ago, the living nightmare that I experienced while being an IP is what they call the women here at Shakopee, incarcerated person. I love acronyms. IPs, they're important people, not incarcerated persons. They're important people. Just because someone makes a bad decision and it lands them in prison, it doesn't take away their value as a human being. It doesn't take away their right to be in a safe space. It doesn't take away our right to be housed in an all-women's prison because we're all women. Governor Tim Walz, Commissioner Paul Schnell, and Attorney General Keith Ellison voluntarily, 5 months before the policy was put in place, they voluntarily moved in these so-called transgender women, lying as transgender women, predatory men. We're talking about convicted murderers, rapists, child molesters of their own flesh and blood. They moved them into what's supposed to be an all-women's prison. These are born biological men that have lied and hid behind the transgender women identity policy. They've had their own agendas, one being Sean Wingland. Sean Wingland was a convicted child molester. He was convicted for molesting his twin 6-year-old relatives. He was housed here, and as soon as he got here, began his own agenda. He began sleeping with an inmate whose name I will not disclose. He began sleeping with, she's an important person. And his agenda was to get her and or any other IPs, important people, pregnant in what he was gonna call, unquote, quote unquote, the $1 million baby scheme against the Department of Corrections. He had been put in segregation after repeated attempts and episodes of sleeping with incarcerated people, important people here in Shakopee. Eventually, he was then moved last year in October back to an all-men's facility. He's currently housed in Lionel Lakes. Did anybody become aware of that?
Oh, yeah.
Was anyone aware of this so-called transgender woman sleeping with the IPs here at Shakopee Correctional Facility? No. But there's an even bigger picture. I don't think many people are aware that there are men being housed in this women's prison. These are men with men genitalia being housed with women in what's supposed to be an all-women's prison. Governor Tim Walz, Commissioner Chanel, and Attorney General Keith Ellison swept it under the rug. You swept the fact that a born biological man repeatedly has sexual relationships with important people inside an all-women's facility. You swept it under the rug. You wanted it to just go away. And you quietly shipped him back to a men's facility. Well, I made a pact with 500 plus fellow sisters of mine that are currently behind all my supporters, all their supporters, all these voices. I promised them the whole 10 traumatic living nightmare months that I spent behind them walls with them. I promised them that as soon as I got out, after I literally threw up while sobbing, I was gonna go get a lawyer and I was gonna fight for them. This fight isn't over. This fight is just beginning. I will not stop until you immediately remove these predatory men from out of Shakopee Women's Prison, and you immediately remove the men from all the Department of Corrections across the United States, and you dismantle this policy, this dangerous policy. Me and all my fellow sisters, thousands of women across the United States, are being victimized. We're being forced to live in a dangerous housing situation. Many people are thinking, oh, well, we should wait till the what if. The what if already happened. It is happening. Many women have been raped, sex trafficked, sexually harassed and abused at the hands of these so-called transgender women. But what's even scarier and more disheartening and angry is the fact that some of these same facilities that have adopted these policies have also helped these so-called transgender men with their nasty agendas. We don't hear about none of this in the news, do we? It's more important to hear about what Governor Walz ain't doing. But we're also talking about a governor who's the governor behind a state that's got so much state fraud going on. Commissioner Schnell, your beautiful ex-wife, Julie Schnell, was just recently sentenced to some time here at Shakopee. The lovely Shakopee Women's Facility, all women. She'll be coming here. If she's not, what's that look like? Is it okay to have these men with her? Oh, she's your ex-wife. You probably don't give a rat's ass. Governor Walz, if the lovely First Lady Walz, because nobody's perfect, just saying, your audit wasn't very clean. Well, you're a man. They would send you here, just saying. If let's just say your governor, your First Lady ends up, for whatever reason, behind you, or maybe your granddaughter, Would it be okay for her to be housed with these dangerous, predatory, convicted murderers, child molesters, rapists? Then again, you voluntarily put them here with me. You voluntarily put them here with other mothers, wives, sisters, daughters. So you probably wouldn't give a rat's ass. So, message, memo, hope y'all got this on tape. So if you think this is over, I'm just gonna go away, we're just gonna go away, newsflash, hell no, we won't go. Just so you know, come Thanksgiving, even if it's a governor's mansion family dinner inside, I will be having a turkey dinner for one outside the governor's mansion. This interview is over.
Thank you, Jayme. Next, we're going to hear from Amy Ichikawa. Amy is a woman who was formerly incarcerated at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla, California. She is the founder of Woman to Woman, an organization dedicated to providing resources, support, and education to system-impacted women. She assists them to re-enter their communities post-incarceration with dignity and support from women who have lived through the same experience. Amy also serves as an ambassador for Independent Women, an organization that is dedicated to developing and advancing policies that enhance the freedom, opportunities, and well-being of women and their loved ones.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, I don't even know what to say after that. That was the most inspirational, encouraging message I've heard in a long time. And the fact that Jayme's out here for free and that she's not getting paid $100,000 salary off her sister's backs inside is really inspiring, because it's nothing like that in California. It's a whole different story. Anyway, I'm honored to be here. I'm really humbled by the whole experience and seeing all these people that are really grassroots. This is what grassroots looks like. This is what people who are not exploiting the voiceless, forgotten women in prison, this is what it looks like. So we're all here today to raise awareness about the most underreported female human rights crisis of our lives. What gender self-ID has done inside of our nation's women's prisons is the biggest step backwards in women's rights in this lifetime. And the reason why no one is talking about this is because it's impacting women with no societal value. It's impacting women who most of America could care less about, but we care, and that's why we're all here today, to make sure that they know they matter. And that's why, regardless of the crimes they've been convicted of, they still have basic human rights that include respect, agency, and dignity. They're still human beings, and we're not going to quietly sit back and allow this state-sanctioned torture to continue. We're not asking for anything but equal protection under the color of the law, and for them to have the same thoughtful considerations taken by state and federal legislators when they are frameworking laws that affect every cell in their body, every second of their lives, as those that are afforded to men who self-identify as women. Our country's taken a wrong turn. And at some point, the laws and the lawmakers have adopted a code of predator prioritization. They're creating the ultimate victim class that is wielding power over these voiceless, silenced women. And what they are experiencing will eventually wind up at your doorstep if we do not intervene for the women inside. I remember what it felt like when I was in prison and I found out that the state had allowed a serial rapist to transfer into our general population. I remember calling home every day and crying and telling my parents, there's a rapist here. There's a serial rapist here. And they thought that I had lost my mind until they read about it in the newspaper. I wasn't even on the same yard as this individual, but I was horrified. Just the fact that no consideration was taken about the well-being or mental health of the 3,000 women that were housed there. of whom 92% are survivors of sexual abuse. What incarcerated women are collectively experiencing is causing permanent damage to all of us, because the reality is that we are them and they are us. And we need women across the country to understand and accept that these women are our sisters and they need us. They need us to get loud, they need us to get mad, and they need us to restore their lost voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Our next speaker is going to be Rebecca Warmbow. Rebecca is a formerly incarcerated woman who now runs the Hands of Hope prison ministry and serves as an advocate for incarcerated individuals across the state of Minnesota. She is in the unique position of being in contact with prisoners from several facilities across Minnesota, and she delivers a monthly newsletter to the incarcerated population of Minnesota. Thank you for being here, Rebecca.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Warmbow, and I've spent about 14 years in prisons and jails here in Minnesota. And I'm here because the women currently behind these walls can't be. They're stuck in there with these men that are men. Don't think they're transgender women. They are truly men with male body parts. And they're here in this prison, and they're causing people to feel fear, panic, to have trauma, and they're doing crazy things. And I'll tell you about this. So some of these cases are Sean Windingland, right here. This guy here. He came here to this prison, and he's convicted of sexually abusing multiple 6-year-old relatives. He didn't just abuse these children. He filmed it and distributed it, the material, online. The FBI got involved because so many people called in and reported it. Thousands of images and videos were found. His crimes were so heinous that he received triple the normal sentence. Minnesota put him in women's prison. What happened when he was inside? He was pressuring very young women, using his size and his male aggression to intimidate her. And older women saw what was happening and intervened to protect this woman. She went to segregation. They had a physical altercation. The woman was put in solitary confinement. He wasn't. Sean faced no consequences for this. According to multiple sources inside, Sean was collecting semen in a cup. Why? The $1 Million Baby Scheme. They try and get young girls in there to take this semen and get themselves pregnant and sue the state for $1 million for the baby. This happens every day in this prison. Then the state moved him back to men's prison because he was causing trouble here. But if he's a man now, as DOC admits by housing him, right, he went back to a men's prison, so he's a man, then he was always a man, which means Minnesota knowingly put a male child rapist with vulnerable women where he immediately began targeting them. The message to every woman in Shakopee is clear. Defend yourself or another woman, you will go to seg. Bradley Servo, too violent for men but fine for women. He came here, he was serving time for murder, he is. While incarcerated in men's prison, he beat up 2 male guards with the pool stick. So badly the state had to move him to a different prison. They moved him out of the state because he was so violent he couldn't be contained by the male guards who are trained to deal with this, who are able to protect themselves, who have the tools necessary to protect themselves. He comes here to this women's prison, shares a shower with my friends in here, walks in the same hallways as them, and he's so violent that the state didn't let him be in this state for a while. They moved him over to this prison. He said himself, he told me, he came here because they ruled him to be okay to be here. But he attacked 2 male guards. He beat him up. Daniel, this guy right here, the missing sex offender. He is convicted sex offender who sexually harassed female inmates and masturbated in front of them while in this prison and in front of staff. Under federal law, the Prison Rape Elimination Act, called PREA, every incident of sexual misconduct must be documented. Some of these were reported, but now when we ask for this, when the women who reported this asked for this, there's no documentation. It's gone. The DOC won't release it. And here's where it gets really bad. This guy here is free. He's been released. He's got a $10 million lawsuit against DOC. His name got legally changed while in prison, despite being a convicted sex offender who was put back in prison for not registering as a sex offender. He failed to register now. He's not registered on the streets. He's not registered as a sex offender. This man is walking the streets right now in our neighborhoods with our kids, your kids, our kids, and nobody knows he's a sex offender who raped kids. He's not reported. He's not registered. Why? Why isn't he put back in prison for this? He already was once, but now because he was here, he's got a $10 million lawsuit. Now he doesn't have to register. So people live in his neighborhood. Anybody who lives in this neighborhood, this man, you don't know what he really is. He's a sex offender. He should be registered, but he's not.
Sexual credit food.
Elijah Berryman, another winner. He's psychological torture.
Yeah.
He raped a little boy and got triple the normal sentence again because his crimes were so bad. Women report to me, and I've gotten emails and I post them all over on X and TikTok, all over, and Vivid Alpha News and everything, that he yells and screams. He tells himself out loud, "You did this to them," in a different voice. Reliving his crimes while women are forced to listen through the walls. They can't sleep. They have constant panic attacks. These women, many are who are mothers like us, sisters, wives, have survived trauma ourselves. They're forced to listen to a child rapist relive his crimes day after day, night after night. There's no escape. They can't go anywhere to get away from this. They have to live next to him. This is psychological torture, and the DOC knows it's happening. And when you don't get help for trauma, when you're in prison, you get out, what happens? Amanda Sayers, not on here. You know why? He's a ghost inmate. He's on the DOC. He's here in this prison. I have emails where I wrote to him. He wrote back to me. He's got a DOC number, but you look him up in the DOC policy, he's not registered. That's a crime. If you're in prison, you have to be registered on there. Not only for his protection, because they could kill him, they could hurt him, they could do anything to him here. But he's not registered. So nobody knows he's here. He's not on here. We don't have a picture of him because there's no picture of him.
Not registered.
But I have him on my emails, and I have pictures of that where he sent me emails back. So why is the state hiding him? Why is he being hidden? Under Minnesota law, every inmate in state custody must be listed in public inmate locator system. This is mandatory transparency. Removing someone from that database is illegal. And here's a critical question. If Amanda Sayers is a federal prisoner, then his presence in women's prison is a direct violation of President Trump's executive order. The federal government made it illegal for men to be in women's prison. What did Amanda Sayers do that's so bad that the state has to hide him? He came from a different prison. We think we found him, we're not sure. Who else were they hiding in here that we don't even know of? Now, Amanda Sayers, I'll tell you about Jayme, who just spoke. She was a woman in Shakopee who used to love choir. It was her escape, her joy, her way to sing to Jesus and find relief from the pain of being in there. It was the only thing that brought her peace in a terrible situation. She couldn't go anymore because Amanda Sayers is head of the choir. She was too afraid. It brought out PTSD. This large, bearded man with tattoos made her feel unsafe. The one source of comfort she had, the one place where she could worship and find peace, was taken from her. She suffered in silence while she was in there, unable to attend her church because of this man. Jayme is here today. She is now free. And her voice, her courage to speak out, is what got us all here today. She refused to stay silent. She refused to let them erase what happened to her and other women. And according to the state of Minnesota, Amanda Sayers doesn't exist. The pattern, decades of protecting predators. The problem didn't start with these cases. The Minnesota DOC has been failing to protect women from male predators for decades. I've been in this prison. I first came here back when I was 21 years old. Male guards were trying to enter women's cells at night. We had to protect ourselves by putting pop cans up so if they open the door, it'd fall over, make noise. Other women would start yelling on the doors and pounding the doors so that man couldn't come in there and rape you. I was 21 years old, and there's a woman in here who was 19 who was forced to give one of the male guards oral sex in her doorway. He still works here. He's back here working. They took him out of working in the units. They had him be grounds crew so he can take the women out on the grounds away from cameras. I reported this years ago. They came out and investigated it, and I've come back here 3 times, and he's been here. Years ago, I was told that if women get pregnant while they're in here by a male guard, if they get pregnant from a male guard raping them in this prison, they either go and get an abortion or they get sent to segregation for a year and a year added onto their time. It makes it so that they don't report it, because if you report it, you do it more time in prison. That's disgusting. Another woman filed a lawsuit while I was here, won $30 million from this prison. The guard went to prison. He was making her give him oral sex at boot camp in Togo, Minnesota. None of the other women who were up there, me included, were asked about it or offered help. Nothing. They just swept it under the rug. When women walk to the bathroom or shower, the doors don't lock. Some are in open pods where they just walk in and there's a bathroom. Women have to walk right past these male inmates to get to the shower. The showers don't lock. The doors don't provide security. These men with documented histories of sexual violence have full visual access. Women report they're having sex underneath the tables and touching other women. This is the environment Minnesota created. For the women inside, these are emails they sent to me. One woman wrote to me, "I'm currently incarcerated at a Minnesota DOC. I'm writing to inform you that men in this facility make me feel scared, uncomfortable, unsafe, and brings up major PTSD for me. I feel like there are some here for the wrong reasons. They are having sex in bathrooms, finding semen in bottles, and people are touching themselves under the table. I really wish legislation would take this serious and change this." Another woman describes the showers. When we walk down the hallway to go to the bathroom or to the shower, it doesn't have doors. They don't lock. Some of them are open pods where there's 2 showers, the door that pushes up back and forth. And they have to go there and shower, and they have to walk right by them in order to get to the shower. The psychological torture. They stand up in classes and group sessions and talk about their sex offenses in detail. They describe their crimes. They go into graphic detail about what they did to their victims, and then they act surprised when the women get upset by this. And here's where what the men told me themselves. They said they liked it in men's prisons. It was fine there. There weren't problems, but Shakopee is easier and better. Let that sink in. These men admit that men's prison was fine, but they prefer women's because it's easier for them. This is where they can come and prey on their predators. They come here to prey. They're all in here for sex offenses, child rape, or murder. They're not here because they need to be here. They're here because it's more comfortable for them. And women, us, are paying the price. In men's prison, child predators or men who rape a woman are dealt with by other inmates. Even the male inmates defend us women better than our own state and DOC does. Paul Schnell, the commissioner, a conflict of interest if I ever heard one, he's responsible for the safety and welfare of other inmates in Minnesota custody. His wife was convicted of attempting to murder their own vulnerable handicapped child. According to reports, she poisoned him. She starved him. This happened while they were married, while Paul Schnell was living in the same home with her. She has now been sentenced and is currently on her way here to Shakopee, the very women's prison her husband oversees. That's a conflict of interest. Paul Schnell couldn't even protect his own child from his own home. What kind of environment was in that household that led a mother to poison and starve her own vulnerable, disabled child? Where was he? What did he know? What did he see? And now we're supposed to trust him to protect thousands of vulnerable women in state custody? His wife is now in the same prison with male sex offenders walk these halls, where women report feeling unsafe, where predators have been protected and women punished for defending themselves. The irony is staggering. His wife is now one of the vulnerable women he's supposed to protect in a facility he's made dangerous by his own policies. How can there be partial oversight when Commissioner's own wife is directly affected by every policy decision he makes about Shakopee? This demands immediate resignation or removal. I wrote to him. He sent me an email back, a rude, dismissive response. Craig Lusk, this guy, built like a linebacker, with the help of Gender Justice, he sued for $449,000 in taxpayer money, facilitated by Tim Walz. He won. He got transferred to Shakopee. $400,000 in cash and approval for sex reassignment surgery, paid for by taxpayers. If you go look at his Facebook page, he's built like a linebacker. Massive shoulders, thick neck. Look at this guy. That doesn't look like a woman. He goes on Facebook and he's trolling for women the entire time because he's attracted to women. His ex-wife's testimony. He was abusive during their marriage. He told her before prison that he was going to claim to be transgender to get out early or sue the state. It was a plan, a scheme, and it worked. According to letters from women incarcerated with him, he talked about sexually explicit acts, saying he would fuck them in their ass. He made aggressive comments to them and said he'd do that to them if they bothered him. He intimidated women with his size and behavior. He got his payout, got his surgery approved because he just wanted big boobs. He liked touching them. He terrorized women and was released. According to public records, he's already had 4 new misdemeanor charges. But he proved the system could be gamed, and now every male predator in Minnesota knows how. Tim Walz and Gender Justice, the money trail. Gender Justice is a nonprofit that fought for Craig Lusk and helps male inmates get into women's prisons. The funding in 2022, $1,500 was from Minnesota government. 2023, $500,000 was given to them. That's a 33,000% increase. Who was governor? Who signed off on that money? Tim Walz. Tim Walz actively promotes gender justice. He endorses them. He supports their mission and personally championed the policy that puts male sex offenders in women's prisons. He didn't just allow it, he funded it, he promoted it, he celebrated it. President Trump issued an executive order making it illegal to house biological males in women's prison facilities. This is now federal law, but this is a state prison. What has Minnesota done since that order? They moved 2 more male inmates into Shakopee. This is one of them, and we don't have the other picture of the other one. After the president made it illegal, Minnesota deliberately moved more men into a women's facility. That's not bad policy. That's defiance of federal law. Minnesota is openly defying the President of the United States and federal law to continue this dangerous policy. Think of all the other $10 million lawsuits that are coming to Minnesota if this continues. Every woman in Shakopee right now has a case. How much will this cost us to continue this? We pay the price financially, and when women aren't treated fairly and are released, their recidivism rate is higher when they don't get help, but instead get more PTSD while there. It costs us more money in lawyers, courts, therapists, criminal acts, loss of jobs, loss of kids, and we Minnesota taxpayers pay for this. We shouldn't have to be here. For over a year, I've been actively fighting this through Fox News, Redex, Alpha News, Viral Christie podcast, yet nothing was done. I've written to multiple congressmen and women. The day after Trump was elected, Tom Emmer's office called me and got my story, but still nothing happened. Then Jayme Ali reached out. She was in prison at Shakopee. She reached out to our ministry, Hands of Hope Prison Ministry, and we talked and prayed together. She got out, and her voice wasn't silenced. She refused to remain captive to the system of lies. She spoke out. We shouldn't have to be here today, but we are, because our state supports this. Our state doesn't support women or our rights. It supports men instead. These are men. Make no mistake, these are men. These are their pictures that they get while they're in women's prison. They don't look like women. They're men. I can't do it alone. That ends today. Today, all of you are hearing this. Today, you have the information. Today, you know the names. Sean Windinglam, Bradley Servo, Daniel Bentz, Elijah Berryman, Amanda Sayers, Craig Lusk, Nathan Jones. Today you know what they did. You know who they hurt. You know who's protecting them. And today you have a choice. All of us have a choice. You can do what Congress did, nothing. You can do what the DOC did, cover it up. You can do what most of the media did, look away. Or you can join this fight. You can write those letters. You can make those calls. You can share this information. You can demand accountability. You can be the reason this finally changes. We are women. We give birth. We create human life. We are mothers, daughters, sisters, wives. We are the life bringers of humanity. We will not be erased. We will not be silenced. We stand with the women in Shakopee prison, in all prisons, in all spaces where we are being erased, and we say no. Will you join us today? Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah, the call to action. What I like to, thank you. Every male inmate from Shakopee, remove every male inmate from Shakopee today. This is now a federal law violation. Not next month, not tomorrow, today. Launch a federal investigation. We need the FBI, we need the DOJ, we need federal prosecutors looking into civil rights violations and the obstruction of justice. Release the PREA statements immediately. There's many of them, but we don't get them. If they've been destroyed, those responsible must face charges. Add Amanda Sayers to the public database within 24 hours. hiding inmates from public view is illegal and dangerous. Arrest Daniel Benz for failing to register as a sex offender. He's not registered. This is a crime. Find him. Arrest him. They thought we wouldn't find out. They thought we wouldn't care. They thought we'd be too afraid to speak up. They were wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that amazing speech. Our next speaker is going to be Alicia Beckman. Alicia has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a master's degree in education. She is an adult basic education teacher and was employed with the Minnesota Department of Corrections for 11 years and here at MCF Shakopee as a GED instructor for nearly 10 years before she resigned in protest of the Department of Corrections policies that are putting women in danger by housing men with them. Thank you for being here today, Alicia.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Alicia Beckman, and I was an educator here at Shakopee for almost 10 years. I had found my home at Shakopee and planned to retire from here. Unfortunately, those plans were thwarted due to dangerous policies implemented in 2023. I'm compelled to inform you all that when I walked away from my career, I lost everything and gained nothing. I lost not only my ability to earn a livable income, but I also lost my dream job where I got to walk into work every day and help change lives. This was more than a job. It was a career I was passionate about because I knew I could help make a difference, to be an agent of change. At the end of the day, though, it's not about my loss. It's about the women of Shakopee and their loss of safety, security, dignity, and the ability to heal and rehabilitate in an environment designed for women. The politicians and administration have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So they continue to lie to you for their political agenda. They continue to ignore the voices of incarcerated women and women across the state and those who stand with these women. Today's message, however, is not for those of you in the crowd and those of you standing behind me. That would be like preaching to the choir. This message is to the citizens of Minnesota and across the country who have been misinformed and misled about the dangerous policies taking place at the Women's Correctional Facility where I stand today. Not only are women not safe in prison, they aren't safe in locker rooms, bathrooms, gyms, sports, sororities, schools, and anywhere else where dangerous political agendas are given room to breathe. For those of you who don't know, the buildings of Shakopee Correctional Facility are named after well-known female advocates, suffragists, and activists who made an impact on women's history. So here's your history lesson. Florence Monahan was the first superintendent of the Shakopee State Reformatory for Women, which opened in 1920. It was a pioneering institution in women's history, aimed at reforming women offenders. Monahan's approach was rooted in the belief that rehabilitation and vocational skills development were essential for reintegration of women into society. Isabel Higbee was a social reformer who joined the chorus of voices calling for the construction of a women's reformatory in Minnesota. Isabel Higbee once said, "No man can refuse us the reformatory when it is realized that women are willing to give up their lives for it." Women like Isabel Higbee and Florence Monahan believed in the importance of women's-only spaces and fought for it. There's a building here named after Harriet Tubman, and Harriet Tubman once said, "The Lord who told me to take care of my people meant me to do it just as long as I live, and so I did what he told me." Harriet Tubman fought for freedom, and we must do the same for these women. Rosa Parks. You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right. What we are doing is right. We must not allow women to be treated as lesser than, no matter what the circumstances. Mary Bethune. Next to God, we are indebted to women, first for life itself and then for making it worth living. Susan B. Anthony. No self-respecting woman should wish or work for the success of a party who ignores her sex. Sex and biology are being ignored and replaced by gender ideology that has been manufactured. And two final quotes that speak volumes. The first by Eleanor Roosevelt and the second by Antonia Novello. I hope the women of the United States will awaken to the full sense of their influence, which they can wield if they accept the responsibility which all power implies. And by Antonia Novello, my motto is good science and good sense. I have walked the halls and taught in these classrooms year-round for almost a decade. I know the truth. I see what Tim Walz, Paul Schnell, and those who support their policies are trying to accomplish, and that is to erase women and turn us back into second-class citizens. They have no qualms about putting women in danger and lessening their chances of rehabilitation and healing, all to advance their agenda. I will not sit idly by and watch women be erased from history after so many advocates fought for us to have equal rights. I refuse to turn back the clock. Instead, I will look forward and fight with the women who believe we are worth fighting for. We have a responsibility to the women of Minnesota, the women here at Shakopee, and the women across the United States. Don't undo 100 years of hard work by erasing us from history. Take a stand today for all women. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Alicia. Our next speaker is going to be Tish Hyman. Tish is a recording artist, producer, songwriter, and very lucky for us, has recently become an overnight women's rights warrior. We are so happy to welcome you and your powerful voice, not just today here in Shakopee, but welcome to the movement, Tish.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here today. All right, let me do this thing.
You got it.
I don't know which one it is. I think it's this. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. You know, Shakopee Women's Prison, I hope y'all can hear me in there. My voice is loud, and I hope it reaches you behind those walls to let you know that we are here. We are here to raise awareness about the injustice that's happening in this prison and many prisons throughout America. There are women being housed with men in men's prisons. You can only imagine how that could be dangerous. Sorry, let me rephrase. Women being housed in women's prisons with men. Whether there are 9 men, whether there are 20,000 men, one man is enough to cause havoc in a woman's prison. Okay? I've never been to prison. But I could lay in my bed as I went to sleep last night and think about a man stronger than every female in the prison walking around, picking them out like chickens, and it makes me angry. These are women. They're human beings. Because you committed a crime does not make your life less valuable. You understand? This is insane. And the truth is that many people do not know what's happening in the prisons in America. Well, people of the world who are watching and hearing this, and Shakopee, the women of Shakopee, we're going to let the whole world know what's going on in the women's prison. Men are in there. There is no such thing as a trans. There are just men and women. Some men like to wear dresses, and there's nothing special to see there. Women need protection from men. They should not be in the prisons with us, the locker rooms with us, the sports with us. They are men. I am tired of people acting like they don't have eyes and a brain between their ears. You can see it. They are men. Where are these pictures of these hideous looking men? You see this? You see this? These are women? These are women to you? America? Walz? Whatever that lady's name is, passing this freaky stuff? What is it? Okay? Whatever bill Whatever bill needs to be passed to get them out of here, that's what we need to do. Get them out of the prison, all right? Look at these unsavory pieces of biscuits here. They gotta go. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's dangerous. It's very obvious that this is wrong, okay? So I just want the people of the world to know what's going on in the prisons. Look around in your state, state to state. I don't care what state you're in. Look around. It's happening, and the silence is what's giving it power. They are silencing the women in the prisons. They are silencing the women in the locker rooms. They are silencing people. And men, I know real men that love women and love their mothers and their daughters and their sisters and their children do not appreciate what's happening. They do not want women in men's spaces. They don't want men in women's spaces. And it needs to stop. This is malarkey. It's crazy. It makes no sense. It doesn't matter what you vote for, Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not. Everyone has a heart and a mind that can see that this is wrong. So I'm going to need everybody to unite in truth. There are no such things as trans. There are men and there are women. And right now, men pretending to be women are in prisons with women, raping and harassing them and making their lives a living hell. Their life is already a living hell. They're in jail. Why make it even worse by putting a man in there? Men have a problem with men in jail. Men are sexually assaulted by men in jail and their lives are ruined. And they are strong. Can you imagine a weaker woman? These men are not women. It's over. It's over. No more. Men are men and women are women. Okay? Yeah. And that's enough. And I hope the ladies of Shakopee, I hope you ladies can hear me back there. And Jayme, thank you. Because of Jayme and the other brave women that spoke today, people are finding out. And you know what? We're going to wrap our arms around these women. We're going to wrap our arms around Jayme. They're going to try to make it hard for her now that she's talking. They're going to try to take everything away from her, voice, everything. So I'm going to post a GoFundMe link, and we're going to make sure that Jayme's good. And we're going to post GoFundMe links for the women who lost their jobs trying to support this shit. We've got to fix it. We've got to do it. I would like to read a letter from one of the prisoners here. Oh, snap, it's on my phone. Let me get that phone. Well, I guess you got to use your phone to get this part. But I got to read, I want to read from the words of the women inside. Because it is important that their voice is heard. So, and by the way, ladies, when y'all want to make your joint louder, you got to just, you know what I'm saying, give it a little cough and a little bass, you understand? So people can hear you. All right. Learned that from performing. All right. So this is a letter from one of the women here at the Shakopee prison. It reads, I have serious concerns about the safety risk and impact being housed with men is having on us. We are locked in an 8-person cell for hours at a time with limited programming because staff don't come to work. If one of these men decides to hurt us, we have no protection, and we definitely do not have the strength to fight them. Death is imminent for us as long as men are here. The men they have transferred to our facility are rapists, murderers, child killers. All of them were convicted of violent crimes, and all of them have 20 to 40-year life sentences. This is a recipe for disaster, and us women are in grave danger. I fear for my life because please get these men out of here. Sorry, excuse me. All these men have girlfriends, and there have been pregnancies. One of the men was moved into my room, and he would sit there on the floor in front of the shower and stare at our vaginas. He constantly peeped at us in the shower and the toilet. I have heard other women who were forced to live with him share the same kind of experiences. This man is 6'4", and he even killed another man in the men's prison. Why would anyone think it would be healthy for us to move him over here with us? For them to move him over here with us? Why would anyone think it would be healthy to move him over here with us? He screamed in my face and accused me of being racist because I turned the bright light off to cool our room down. I'm scared to death of this man. I do not report any of this because I'm too scared of what the men and the staff will do. The man brought narcotics with him, and the meth had him up all night pacing. So he was able to do meth in there. Wow. had him up all night pacing and talking to himself, making it impossible for any of us to sleep. This change has brought back the memories of the severe child abuse I experienced as a child. I have been working on developing coping skills and healing from my trauma, but that has stopped since the men came because I cannot focus on anything but my safety. We need to be able to heal our minds, our bodies, and soul from the abuses we've suffered by men before we even got here. This place is being used as another tool to continue to abuse us. It's making it impossible for us to become productive citizens, and we want to contribute good things to society. With these men here, women will continue to come back from generations because of the unhealed wounds. It is an epidemic, and it cannot be contained here for much longer. Miss L. Williams, 62 years old, CCWF. Al Williams, we hear you, Al Williams. We hear you, ladies of Shakopee. The whole world will hear you. And I'm loud enough for everybody across the streets to hear. Hey, people across the streets, men are in here raping women across the street from you. You should care. We all have to care because an injustice to one is an injustice to all. And they are using black people's civil rights to push this shit, and it's over. Martin Luther King did not march for this. Rosa Parks would have got off the bus if she knew it was heading this way. So stop. Being born black is not the same thing as being a man deciding to put on a dress and call yourself a woman. Enough of the malarkey. My name is Tish Hyman. Thank you so much for having me. Jayme, we got your back for life. You good.
Yeah, so on the back, real quick, I can use it today. Because we are in for people behind today. I'm being contacted by one of the women in here. So they're dealing with some, they're dealing with some, some low discomfort back yet. Like I told them, I lost the bottom of their shoe. They can shut us down at any moment for any reason.
We're just gonna keep going. We're almost done. So we're gonna finish up and we'll get out of the way.
Discomfort. It is there's temporary discomfort for a bigger agenda. Here. My biggest thing is how the hell am I going to contact him on Facebook from inside shot?
Okay, we're gonna just keep on going because we got a couple more speakers to get through and then we'll wrap up.
We're going to be out the house for those of them going to stay there quickly. We're just going to walk around the one part of the section of the living unit for those that are there and just do a couple of a song or a chant or two in our time to let them know that we're here. And then we're going to let them have their lights back because they will reopen back up. They're not stopping visiting privileges, which is the most important part of to them.
Okay. All right. So next we have a little bit of a surprise message from one of our very favorite people, author of 2 books, The Abolition of Sex and the Reckoning, lawyer, radical feminist, and a general heroine and turf extraordinaire. Kara Dansky has sent in a message to read, and so Carrie is going to come and read that, and then we'll hear some more letters from the incarcerated women.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Maybe, huh?
You're going to start to what?
Let's get this Carrie height. Okay, that's okay. Good. Yeah. I think so.
Okay. My name is Kara Dansky, and I was the president and member of the board of directors of Women's Declaration International USA from 2021 to 2024. I have a message to all the women speaking out today and to all the women inside Shakopee. First, to the women inside, we will not stop speaking out against this atrocity, which is a violation of your human and civil rights. We will stand with every last one of you until every last man is removed from the women's prison. Second, to the women speaking, thank you and well done, especially to those women who are using their voices for the first time. Thank you so much. I also have a message for the governor and attorney general. To Walz and Ellison, don't think for an instant that we're going away. We're not going anywhere until every man is removed from Shakopee. The fight is ongoing. Together, as sisters, we will keep speaking and we will keep fighting. I wish I could be there with you, but I am amazed by your bravery watching the live stream. Women have got each other's backs. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Be done.
And where's my live stream? Is that it? Thank you, Kara Dansky. We love you. Okay, next, we are going to hear again from Amy Ichikawa.
Hi.
In her advocacy and work with incarcerated women, Amy has collected multiple statements from women who are incarcerated all over the country. She has brought a couple of those statements to read today. Amy?
Sure, this one's for and you like, you know, people know that connection. It's a bit, but
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, this is a letter from a woman who has to remain anonymous because she's currently serving a life sentence, and women in California are being retaliated against by our governor and the NGOs that are in the ear of the people in charge of commutations and pardons. So anyway, I'm almost 25 years into a life without the possibility of parole sentence at the Central California Women's Facility. Never in all my years did I ever think that I would be begging the public to help get the men out of women's prisons. I've watched the culture change over the last 5 years into something unrecognizable. Women are not separated by security level, gang affiliation, nor do we have politics like the men's prisons until now. Staff continues to find record-breaking numbers of inmate-fashioned weapons. Women are overdosing in numbers like I've never seen before. We've always had some level of violence and narcotics, but not like this. Staff are afraid to do their jobs, and the single most important job, which is to keep us safe out of fear of new lawsuits. I've never felt so unsafe in my entire life, and as odd as this may sound, prison was my safe space. Like many of the women here, I've been sexually abused my whole life. Forcibly housing us with men who simply self-ID as women is truly the most cruel and unusual punishment I can think of. These people are transferring over here just to get out of men's prisons and just to have sex. It's nothing to do with trans identity. As soon as they get here, they're in relationships, and these are relationships that take women and the time and effort that they've invested into healing and rehabilitating, and they destroy it. These are the same kind of men that many of us are here behind. I'm not asking for anything special. We just need our state issue of respect, agency, and dignity. We will not survive this continued exploitation without public intervention. Senator Scott Wiener and Governor Gavin Newsom has sold our souls for power, and America needs to know, because my fear is that the public is next. Prison is a microcosm, and I'm living in a human science project that is out of control. Please stop them from erasing us. I'm risking 20 plus years that I dedicated to repair the damage that I caused in the world. I'm risking the little chance I do have at freedom for my safety and the safety of every silenced woman in here. I could not live with myself if I stayed quiet. I cannot bear to see another woman raped, another woman coerced into having an abortion. I cannot spend another night having to hear the couple across the hall having sex from me. Whether we like it or not, whether we give consent or not, we are all participants in this state-sanctioned rape. Please help us. And I just want to share a couple of things before I pass the mic. Some of the original men that were sent to the women's prison in California, these are their charges. Murder 1, murder 2, attempted murder, bringing a firearm or an explosive into a prison, robbery, burglary, carjacking, arson of an inhabited structure, arson causing great bodily injury, kidnapping for ransom, extortion, continuous sexual abuse of a child under the age of 14, possessing drugs with the intent to manufacture, adult engaging in oral copulation and penetration of a child 10 years old or younger, life assault by a life inmate, killing another life inmate. So a man who killed another man in prison was somehow sent to a women's prison in California, and that's where we're at. That's where we're at, America.
Take your Amy, right? Thank you. The cost of the average. I got to go that. Wouldn't be road strength there. Sit, Piggy. He's right. So, where do you go after the word?
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm going to read a letter first from a woman from Illinois, and then we'll move on to the letters that we have from the women in Shakopee.
Kid.
I'm sorry, this is a letter from the child of an incarcerated woman in Illinois. It reads, "Hi, my name is blank. My mother is currently incarcerated in Logan Correctional Facility in Illinois. She read your article you did with Fox News and realized that you guys missed a state. We feel like women in Illinois are being ignored because they are allowing males to come from other prisons to that prison who identify as female. They still have all their male body parts, and this is causing violence due to most of them having crimes against women in the first place. They had a male who identifies as a female there that was a serial killer of women who came there and sliced an incarcerated woman's face up with a razor. They have had a few women raped by these men and have been coerced into taking Plan B pills due to being pregnant. My mom personally was strip searched in front of several male inmates that claimed to be female, and when one of those males tried to attack her, she called a PREA, and she was written a ticket and given a disciplinary violation for calling PREA. Please contact her for more info. She really wants to talk to you guys." So just a reminder, this isn't just Minnesota, this isn't just California, this is all over the country, and everybody should be paying attention to this. Next, so over the past several months, I have been in contact with several women who are incarcerated here at Shakopee. Many of them have shared statements to be read today in the hopes that hearing their words will raise public awareness of what they are experiencing inside these walls, and that changes will be made to enhance their safety and promote their dignity. Next, we will hear some of their words read by some of our women's rights advocates and feminists here today. I will start. I'm going to start with a letter. This is from Jennifer Baldwin, who is an incarcerated woman here at MCF Shakopee. Jennifer writes, "The transgender policy states that biological males or transgender women are allowed to come here to Shakopee as long as they are safe and us women here are safe. How can they make that determination that us women will be safe prior to the biological male or transgender woman arriving here in Shakopee? One of the men allowed to come here exposed himself to several of the female inmates, while another one has threatened multiple women here. Although all the inmate rooms lock, the showers do not. How are us women here considered safe when issues like these are happening? All the men here have spent significant time in segregation due to threats, destruction of state property, and allegations of PREA, which has happened but was unable to be proven. The simple answer is that we are not safe. The men are taking our hard-earned single rooms and are allowed to keep them regardless of any discipline they may receive, while us women must work hard to receive a single room and maintain good behavior to keep them. The biological male or transgender woman does not, nor do they have to share a room with another male or transgender woman. There is no reason why biological men or transgender women should be allowed in a women's correctional facility." Our next reader is going to be Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm Michelle, and I'm very glad to be here.
Support.
This is from an anonymous woman at Shakopee. 2 more men just got here. One is Nathan Jones.
Can't hear you.
2 more men just got here. One is Nathan Jones. I don't know the name of the other one. Word is more are coming. This is very disturbing. Us women who earned single cells are being kicked out of our cells so the men who are coming can be put in them. We are all so frustrated and don't know what to do. Nathan Jones is not trying to appear as a woman at all. He did tell someone that he identifies just as a bisexual man. I don't know how true they are, but there are a lot of rumors of him speaking about selling his sperm. I don't know why they are making this a co-ed prison. There are no longer women's prisons in Minnesota. A lot of women in here are upset and trying to find ways to speak out about this. Some are here reaching out to the news, but in reality, because of the nature of it all and the stigma of trans in the U.S., I don't know how many women feel safe to speak about it. People forget, though, this isn't about the trans community. It's about putting biological men inside a women's prison. It's not okay. It's not safe for us. We are supposed to be here trying to redirect our lives and heal from past trauma to only be re-traumatized. We need to get our voices heard. And I have another one here from a woman who, her name is Susan Berkovitz. She wanted her name spoken. She's also a Shakopee. And she says, the fact that our governor has signed an order allowing males to come to a female prison and take the single rooms from the women who earn them is frustrating and unfair. Those of us who earn these rooms had to keep a job continuously and have no discipline write-ups for minor infractions, such as sleeping during count time, loitering, no segregation. If a woman goes to segregation, she has to wait a whole year upon release before again qualifying for a single room. But the men come here and take away these rooms that the women had. If the men go back to segregation, when they get out, they immediately go right back into a single room. The women who are on the waiting list, they got bumped off. There's no reason why the men are not paired together in a room. They came here with the same idea of either being afraid of men in the men's prison, although they are no different than them, where they used to be put in protective custody, but now send them here to be safe. Why can't they be put in a room together? And they do have protective custody. Any man who feels unsafe in a men's prison, there's protective custody. But that's not what they're looking for. I spoke to a couple of reporters from the Tribune, but nothing prevailed. Can you please talk to the media? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's,
Next reader is going to be Carrie.
Let me catch up. Sorry. Don't help it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is from an anonymous woman at Shakopee. I wanted to let you know that Nathan Jones went to segregation for threatening one of the other inmates here. I believe when he gets out, he will be coming back to the unit I'm in, and of course will be going into a single room once again. Many women have brought it to the staff's attention that they do not feel safe around him, so maybe he will end up getting sent back to the men's. We can only pray that happens.
Thank you, Carrie. The next reader is going to be Kathy.
Hi, I'm going to read a letter from Jennifer Baldwin, and she is here in Shakopee. As I am sure you are aware, 2 more men have recently come here. One of them has already threatened multiple women here. Many of the women in here, including myself, have been abused by a man, and it's very triggering that these men especially are with these men here, especially when they are threatening women. Nathan Jones makes everyone around him very uncomfortable with his comments or the inappropriate touching. He doesn't wear anything underneath his shorts or pants, so his male parts are very free-moving. To my understanding, there have been reports made by staff. These men come here and go right to a single room, forcing those in them to have to move out. Single rooms are the only incentive we have here for being discipline-free, and it's being taken from us. Some of us have asked staff why the men can't be housed together in the same room and have been told to mind their business as it doesn't concern them. There is no reason why two men with the same body parts cannot share a room with one another. Most of the men here, like Nathan Jones, have no intentions of transitioning to be a female, but rather they say it to get over here. Men should have had to have gone through surgery before they are allowed to come here to a female facility. It is not fair to any of us women here. They are getting special treatment and taking our rooms that we worked so hard to get and keep. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next up is going to be Brianna.
Woo! Thanks, Elizabeth. I'll be reading words from an anonymous incarcerated woman here at Shakopee. This stuff with the men being here is very new. I have been in and out of Shakopee since 2019, and just this past time, since 2024, is the only time we have had to go through what we are going through now. I can understand having women who are transitioning to men here, but for us to have full-on men here is ridiculous, and it is unfair to us. I have extreme post-traumatic stress disorder and have been put through things such as rape, trafficking, and domestic abuse. Having men here, somewhere I should be able to be safe and have a chance to heal, is cruel. I understand this is prison, but it is a women's prison, not a co-ed one. Currently, there are 5 men here. 2 of them are transitioning and have had chest surgery, but they are still here for crimes against women. I feel that they are using this as an excuse to not be in the men's prison. One of them is Elijah Berryman. He is here for raping his 8-year-old brother multiple times, and it makes me sick to even look at him. He is in college classes with me, and I feel it is unfair to place him in a class with us and to have to listen to him talk about raising a family and how to be with children. We also have a man here who is not even transitioning at all and is just a bisexual man. We are losing our single cell privileges to these men who have single rooms. This man has already threatened women in here and tried to sell sperm.
Thank you, Brianna. Next, I'm going to read from an anonymous incarcerated woman here at Shakopee. She writes, I find it unfair that women inmates who earned a single room to reside in for good behavior are forced to give up their room to give to men. If a woman who earned a single room gets disciplined or goes to segregation, she must wait 1 to 2 years to get back on the list to qualify to earn a single room again. But the guys automatically get back their single room. It's discrimination against female inmates. They could pair the guys together in a double room, but they won't. A couple of them still have their male parts, and those who want to change or are in the process of changing automatically get a single room, which displaces the women who were in those rooms and who earned them for good behavior. A person should be in a prison according to the sex they were born as. So men should be in a men's prison or in protective custody if they are afraid of men in a men's prison. There is another inmate in my unit who feels very strongly that men who still have male parts should not be in a women's prison. I asked her if she would talk to you. She said she doesn't want to, but there are many of us who feel the way that we do. Our next reader is going to be Carrie.
Okay. This is from Chaos Bell, incarcerated woman from MCF Shakopee. While us women are trying to rehabilitate, we get surrounded by abusive men claiming to be women in our spaces. These men are sharing groups with us like Women Healing from Trauma. This group doesn't work if we can't be open to talk about our trauma that was most likely caused by men. We shouldn't have to share showers or bathroom stalls with men who are convicted sex offenders. When I was down a hall with Danny Whitebeard, I was terrified of taking a shower in fear he would come after me. There are no locks on the doors, and the staff aren't really paying attention. I'm sure you heard what happened to me on Liz Cowan's podcast. I was sexually assaulted and got no help from that situation. No one has checked on me from it. When the PREA people came here to talk with us, I wasn't chosen to talk with them when I should have been, since I was sexually assaulted. When I reported it, I was given a PREA card, and there were no consequences for Danny, and no further discussion happened. I spoke to the warden in December and asked for a copy of my PREA report, and she said she wasn't going to give it to me per policy. I believe my rights to that report were violated, but I don't know what to do about that. There needs to be a change. This is supposed to be a safe place for women to rehabilitate, but that safety was taken the moment they put biological men with sex crimes amongst us. The policy for the men to come here says they can only be housed here if they are safe and we are safe. But how could they have ever thought that we would be safe with biological men who are sex offenders, who look like men, and who are in here developing relationships with women? Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. We just have one more letter. Our last letter from a woman here in Shakopee is going to be read by Kathy.
Here we have another letter by somebody in Shakopee. This is from Chaos Bell, and she writes, "This message is directed at Governor Tim Walz. After allowing men in our safe spaces where we are sent for rehabilitation, you have created an unsafe environment for us. In fact, you created more trauma, loss of security, and our right to be simply safe. I was traumatized after a biological male inmate showed me his penis. The unwanted trauma sent me back to a dark place. Because staff here are so afraid of losing their jobs for speaking out against this wrong, about this wrong, we as inmates have to risk speaking out for ourselves in a place where staff should believe we are already safe, but we are not, and they cannot protect us. Please take back your wrong and send the predatory biological men back to the men's prison so us women can have safety and security back. Thank you."
Lost.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
But certainly not least.
All right, so we've heard a little bit about these bills, but last legislative session, Bills HF 435 and SF 1295 were both introduced in order to pass legislation requiring that only women be housed here at MCF Shakopee. The bills were referred to committee where they stalled because of lack of Democrat support. Meanwhile, the women inside these walls are living in fear of the violent men that they are being housed with. Today, Representative Paul Novotny of Elk River, who represents parts of Anoka, Sherburne, and Wright counties, was one of the sponsors of HF 435, and he's here today to talk to us a little about that bill. Thank you for coming, Representative.
Yes.
Good? Good? I think I'll be loud. Thank you. As you said, my name is Representative Paul Novotny. I'm the co-chair of the Public Safety Committee. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today and standing up for something that is absolutely critical the safety of women in our correctional facilities. As someone who has spent decades in law enforcement, I've seen the real consequences of a system that fails to protect the vulnerable. Now, as a legislator, I've seen what happens when the system prioritizes ideology over safety. And I can tell you, the results can be devastating. Real people are put at risk. Real lives are affected. According to the National Prison Rape Elimination Resource Center, 86% of female prison inmates are sexual assault survivors. Our responsibility is clear. These women's rehabilitation matters. Their safety is non-negotiable, and if we want them to succeed, we have to place them in a situation where they can heal. It has to be an environment where they are not in fear of being sexually assaulted again. When policies allow dangerous situations to occur, when the system, be it from administrative or judicial decisions, place inmates in harm's way, it is our duty to speak out and demand better.
Yes, twice.
The issue is not about politics. It's about protecting people. It's about ensuring that our policies are rooted in reality and that the safety of women is not compromised for the sake of ideology. Minnesota correctional officers work hard to maintain order and security, but they need clear, common sense laws from the legislature and policies from administration to do their jobs effectively. These policies should stem from this simple principle: housing decisions must prioritize safety above all else. My job as a legislator is to seek and ask tough questions, to review data, and to make sure that our correctional system does what it is meant to do: rehabilitate, protect, and to serve justice fairly. That means listening to correctional staff, listening to victims, and listening to the families who are affected by these decisions. We have an opportunity right here, right now, to demand common sense policies that respect the differences between men and women and to put that safety first. We owe every woman who is in a correctional system, every officer that walks the halls, and every Minnesotan who expects their government to protect them this protection. I want to thank those who have raised their voices, those who have shown the courage to stand up and tell their stories. Your advocacy matters, your determination matters, and together we can assure that our justice system fulfills its highest responsibility: keeping people safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Novotny. Before you leave today, I would like to present you with the letters that we read here today from the women here in Shakopee, and I ask that you keep fighting for them on their behalf. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Our message is simple: women deserve safety, privacy, and dignity. We call on the state of Minnesota to take all necessary actions immediately to remove the men from Minnesota's only women's prison. This includes passing legislation to return Shakopee Prison to a female-only facility. I would ask that anybody who is interested in staying, we are going to do a short march around the perimeter of the prison, but first I would like to invite Tish to sing if she would like. Thank you so much for being here, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
All right. Once again, thank you so much for having me. I guess the song that I will sing is called All That I Can Do. And I wrote it because I was in LA and a lot of stuff was going on back home. My friends were getting arrested and a lot was going on, and I just wrote this song kind of like trying to tell myself why I should just keep focusing on what I can do, which is my work and doing the best thing I can to raise the voices of people who haven't heard. Cousin got locked up, old friend got shot up, older brother's on the run from the coppers, best friend had a baby, little sis acting crazy. I just pray tonight that she gets home safely. Mama got bad health, uncle killed himself, whole world got problems, I can't even stop them. No, 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 and no, 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 yeah. 'Cause even if the sky is falling down, I gotta keep on keeping on. That's all that I can do. Oh, I gotta keep on fighting. That's all that I can do. Oh, and I wish that I could be there, yeah, for you. Thank you so much.
And you guys, I know we're wanting to march. I'm wanting to march around one of the house, some of the housing unit size. But for the sake of bathrooms, their discomfort of being locked in and all of that, I want to respect my fellow sisters because I know what it's like. So what a lockdown means, no phones, no showers.
So I think we'll probably just wrap it up real quick for the live stream. I want to just thank everybody who tuned in today, who comes to watch the feed. Please don't forget about this. Please remember these women here in Shakopee. Fight for them, fight for us. The truth is simple. Men and women are different. Doesn't mean one is superior or inferior, but we are different. And those differences they need to be respected. And women deserve to be respected and protected. Thank you for coming.